Harpy's gold. No tea from this one. Beautiful, but poisonous.
You are a gambler, aren't you?
Your Grace.
Hi, this is Greg. This is an updated video on growing proteas in raised beds. My brother had a cherry tree on this mound and he had it removed and he had a need for some new plants, so I suggested we do an experiment and plant some proteas on this mound and see how they do. As you can see, this leucospermum tango is just really growing well. I planted 2 of these in my yard and they both died. These seem to be the most susceptible to poor drainage. So I had this plant in a 5-gallon pot for a couple years because I knew I couldn't plant it at my place. So we planted it on this mound, and again, as you can see, it's growing really, really well. I'm going to zoom in a little closer so you can see how beautiful this plant is. I'm going to say this plant has tripled in less than a year. And then if we move over here, we planted a few other plants. This is a Banksia rubra, or also known as a swamp Banksia. And it's also doing well. And then there's a leucodendron back here. And then there's a couple other plants I'll share with you. Let's go ahead and take a different view of this plant. Here's another view of the leucospermum tango. This is really one of my favorite plants because the flowers are so red and so beautiful. Just a gorgeous plant. And then here is the Banksia rubra. Nice big green leaves. This plant is so healthy. And then this is a leucodendron that I don't remember the name of. Here's another shot of the leucodendron we planted. Very healthy plant. And this is another leucospermum that you probably never heard of. It's called leucospermum belusi. Has little white flowers. And at this point it appears that it's not going to bloom this year. But it's growing very well. So it's a very healthy plant. Here's a close-up of the tango flowers. They are just gorgeous. This is the front of my brother's house, and on a large mound here we planted a leucodendron tinctum. I grew these from seed, and I have a number of them in pots at my house. This is one of the few leucodendrons that actually has a smell to it. It has a nice odor, so hopefully in a couple years it will bloom. As you can see, the plant's doing really, really well. Get a little closer to it here. This is the last plant that we planted at my brother's. It's a dwarf Banksia. It's a Banksia spinulosa. And it has beautiful cone-shaped flowers, doing really well. I was doing a close-up of this Banksia robar when I just noticed that he's got his first flower. Right there is a budding flower. And I'm so excited. I have a couple of these in pots at my house and they're not yet blooming yet, but my brother's going to have a beautiful flower here shortly. So if you have poor drainage where you live and trouble growing proteas, one way to get around that is raised beds. And a large mound like this is a great way to grow your proteas.